Good morning, everybody. Joe Chacho here. Happy Friday. Again, one more time, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Today, I want to talk about the definition of rejection. Agents call me and say, Joe, I go to a door, I can't get in a door. Joe, I do this, I can't do this here. They call me on the phone, they don't want to talk to me. Kind of a rejection to me is a temporary thing for some people. You know, some people let it just play mind games with them, and they continue to just let it self-destroy themselves. When you're young, well, not when you're young, now as we're a little bit older, and when you look back when you're young, as a young man, you're going to a dance and you see this real pretty girl there, and you say, I want to go ask her to dance. And you go there and you ask her to dance, and she says no. You feel rejected. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. I'm never going to ever talk to a girl again. This girl's a girl of my dreams. So what ends up happening is that the next time you want to go ask a girl to dance, in your mind, that thought comes up, I could get rejected. So now we start saying, well, this girl may not be as pretty as the other girl, so I'll probably have a better shot. When you're a girl, you're looking at it, if you want to go talk to a guy because you just want to go talk to him, you're saying, well, he's on the football team. He probably doesn't want to deal with me. If I was a cheerleader, he'd probably want to talk to me. So what happens, we get into the little cliques when we're young, and there's even cliques when we get older. So what ends up happening, all of these thoughts stay in our mind, and believe it or not, what our mind does is that it protects us from getting hurt. For example, when your parents tell you, Joe, don't touch that hot stove, you're going to burn your finger. As a kid, it's not that you don't believe your parents. You want to test it to really see if it's hot. And when it's hot, you touch it, and then you learn a lesson not to do it. It's not really called rejection, but it's your brain telling you, don't do it or do it. If you said, think about it, if you've never been in a car accident before, you really don't care about wearing a seatbelt. I see people wearing seatbelts, and they get the part that comes across here, they put it under their arm because they don't want it, they don't want to mess up their shirt. And so what ends up happening is that they get into an accident and something happens to them. God forbid you do get an accident, hopefully nothing happens, but yet if you do, next time you're in the car, you're going to put that seatbelt where it goes, along this side, on the driver's side, the opposite way, to protect yourself, because your brain is telling you, Joe, don't be a fool. If you get to another accident, you don't know when it's going to happen, wear your seatbelt to protect yourself. So your brain is there to protect yourself when it comes to the good things like that there. And then what the brain can also do, it can also hurt you when you're trying to get over the feeling of rejection. Now, what happens is that the definition of rejection is the act of pushing away. So what ends up happening is that when you go ask a girl to dance and she says, no, I don't want to, you feel she's pushing you away. When you're a girl and you want to go talk to a good-looking, muscle-bound guy, and it's not that he ignores you, he's wanting to talk to somebody else, you feel, God, he's pushing me away, what's wrong with me? So what ends up happening, we end up saying, well, we're not that good, or we're not that good-looking, we're not as good-looking as her, he's got more muscles than me, he's got a better personality than me. So what's happening, it starts playing with our minds. And when this stuff starts playing with your minds, what ends up happening, it prevents you from growing. So you need to take a stance and say, today's the day where I don't care what happens. If I get a no, or I get no, I can't dance, or no, I don't want to talk to you, or no, I don't want to talk to you at a door, or no, I don't want to buy something from you. We've got to learn to try not to take it personal, and we have to learn from rejection and figure out what are we doing wrong. When you're by yourself and you're knocking on a door, there's really nobody there to kind of sit and tell you what you're doing wrong. My thought is maybe record yourself to see if maybe what you're saying is something that is either incorrect, you're speaking too fast, you can't tell if you're too close to the door, you can't tell a lot of stuff. All you can do is listen to what you're doing. So what you need to do is that whenever you feel some type of rejection about to come, you got to sit and visualize what happened to you before when you got visualized. You got to visualize what happened to you before when you got rejected. So you need to kind of close your eyes and say, okay, I walked up to that door and I was standing here. You got to actually visualize yourself at the door. Where was I standing? What did I say? How did I say it? Did I speak clearly? Did I use any voice inflection? Was I fidgety? Was I carrying too much in my hand? Was I standing this way? Was I standing that way? Visualize yourself at that point. And what you want to do is you want to learn from what you did either wrong or what you didn't do well enough. Now, there's some people that are just going to reject you just because it's just their personality and it's not you. But yet in your mind, you say, doggone it, man. Knocked on another door. They don't want to talk to me. So we end up self-destroying ourselves because it's what our brain does. Okay? So what we have to do, we got to learn how to visualize it and kind of say, okay, let me see what I can do to start erasing that negative feeling. What can I do to make that negative feeling transpire, turn into a good feeling? And the only way to do it is to practice on what you've done wrong, to try to do what you've done wrong, do it better. When you get rejected, you feel hurt, you feel sad, you feel lonely, and it even sometimes makes you anxious. When you got to walk up to a door and you've been rejected 3 times, that 4th time is going to be, God, it's going to be so hard, especially if you've never done it before. When I got in this business here, I came from the hospitality business. Never had to walk up to a door, never had to ask somebody for a check, never had to make a close, never had to do any of that stuff there. Yet I was bound and determined I was going to be successful at what I was doing. There was nothing that was going to stop me. A lot of that has to do with the way my parents raised me, just to be go, 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 push yourself, try to be an overachiever. Because one thing my dad taught me a long time ago, he said, Joe, I don't care how good you are, how smart you are, nobody's just going to come and put a check under your door because you're a nice guy. You got to get out there and bust your butt to make things happen. So all these things start sticking in your mind when you become an adult, and these things we should teach our children, and we should teach our kids, listen, this is some of the boo-boos and mistakes I made. I want you to try not to make those mistakes, but yet your kids are going to sit and try to do what they want to do, as we all did. So when you go into a door and you feel that you're going to get anxious, take a couple steps back. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room from that person there. Just kind of slip back a little bit further. And when you start feeling a little bit comfortable, then you're going to start moving in a little bit closer. Because what happens is that people have got their intimate zones, their personal zones, the social zones. Then you got the public zone. And the closer you get to somebody, what ends up happening, it does make you a little anxious because you're kind of crossing their comfort zone as well as your own. So when you're trying to visit with somebody at the door to where you don't get rejected, to where they don't tell you, I don't want to talk to you, stand back a little bit. Talk a little bit slower. Make yourself say, okay, let me just go a little slower. Now, when we get rejected, we kind of view it as our self-worth. I'm not good at doing this here. The leads aren't good. I know I should have never gotten this business here. I should have stayed at my other job. I don't know why I did this here. So we end up, as I said before, we end up destroying ourselves. Our mind is that little itty bitty pea up there, but it's so powerful. And what it does is that it maneuvers your thought process. So what we need to do, we need to sit and say, okay, how can I sit and acknowledge this issue that I'm dealing with? And the first thing you've got to do is that you got to visualize it in your mind. You got to acknowledge that you have a problem. A lot of times people don't feel they got a problem. It's somebody else. It's the person, it's the lead, it's the weather, it's whatever. You have to acknowledge that if you're feeling rejected, you're not doing something right, you're not making the proper closes, you're not doing this here, you got to acknowledge that you are doing something wrong. You can't always sit and blame it on somebody else. Number 2, you got to visualize what you're doing when you're doing these acts, whether it's a good act or a bad, you got to visualize it. Third, you got to learn how to not beat yourself up. Because what ends up happening when you start beating yourself up, you start increasing the actual decreasing part of your self-worth, and you start pushing yourself further and further down, and then it makes it even harder to come back up. So don't beat yourself up. Say, listen, it's a learning process I'm going through. I'm going to get better at it. Nobody started off as a professional. Everybody started off as a rookie. Everybody started off as an amateur. That's where I'm at. There's even professionals out there who make mistakes. You got professional ball players, professional golfers who golf great 2 or 3 times out, and the next 3 or 4 times they suck. Why? Well, it's just the way it is. Very few professionals are on their A game every single day. There's some that are, but on a majority, they're not. Now, what you have to do is that you've got to refuse to let the negative register in your mind. You've got to understand, say, you know something that happened last time, I'm going to do whatever I can not to let it happen this time here. I've learned a little bit from the past. Let me kind of take a step back. Let me do something a little bit different to where I do not re-encounter that same thing. So what you're doing is that you're learning from your mistakes. You're learning from the rejection. Because believe it or not, when you get rejected sometimes, it's also kind of like a learning process that you're going through. Because if everything goes perfect, you don't know what you need to work on. It's just like a little boy when you're riding your bike the first time and you fall, you look and you say, doggone, your knees all bleeding, all that stuff there, and your father tells you, get your butt up, get back on your bike. But your mom tells you, oh, come here, baby, let mommy give you a hug, let mommy put a little Band-Aid on it for you. So you sit and think, do you want your mother to pamper you, or do you want your father to push you? And you got to sit and think about, what are you going to do to yourself when you feel anxious, your self-worth is not good? How are you going to treat yourself? How are you going to do it? I think you're going to kind of pamper yourself a little bit, yet you're going to say, get off your ass and just do it. Quit complaining about it. It's not the leads, it's not the door, it's not this. It's what I'm doing is not good enough. Now, rejection is painful. I don't care if it's asking a girl out or walking up to somebody, or rejection is painful, it hurts. So the only way to get over that hurt is to try to find a way to do it better. And the only way to do it better is to be more resilient when you're doing things. It's always not going to be bad. Just like when you're in sales, you're going to get what we call as a laydown. Somebody's just going to buy something from you, even though you've had days where you couldn't sell nothing. When you go to a door, you're going to have a person that's going to let you in. So what you got to look at it and say, was it the way I said something? Was it where I was standing? Was the person just being nice? Those are the thoughts you want to remember when you go to somebody's door, because what it does, it puts your mind in a positive sense. And believe it or not, people can feel when you don't feel comfortable. When you're in a yard and you see a dog to your right hand side there, and you're sitting there and you're nervous as heck, your body is sending out a scent. You don't know it, but dogs and animals have a higher smelling sense than we do. And they can smell, this guy is nervous. This guy doesn't feel comfortable in my zone. That yard behind that fence belongs to that dog there. So what you need to do, you need to learn how to deal with that dog and try to fight off that scent that you can't control. You got to sit and say, you know, dog, I know you're not going to bite me because I'm not going to do eye contact with you. I'm going to walk back slowly. I'm going to start moving my hand to the left where I can sit and undo that little latch. Pick it up real slowly, and you're going to start walking back slowly. And no sooner than you get out that door and put that latch down, that door's closed, that dog comes running up to you because now he's the hero. Well, some damn dogs that'll go up and bite you. But most of the time, they're unsure about you, yet you got to be kind of careful because you don't want to get bit. When you go to a door, the same thing. You don't want to sit and have the person tell you, I don't want to talk to you. So in your mind, you got to sit and think, how can I deal with this here to where I don't get bit by this person and I spent money on a lead? Sometimes you need to discuss it with somebody. Talk with your girlfriend, talk with your boyfriend, talk with another insurance agent. Talk with somebody, say, how do you deal with this here? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I know what I'm doing is correct. Am I doing it the right way? A lot of times it pays to just discuss these things with people, because a lot of times your friends have gone through some of the stuff you've gone through, and they could be able to tell you one or two different things that can change everything you're doing by just giving you a little helpful advice. Because believe it or not, when you hear something from a friend of yours that you value what they say is going to make more sense. It's going to have a bigger impact on you. When you read stuff on the internet, these guys are sometimes, they're doctors, they're actual psychologists over there speaking to you. You're saying these guys have got credible knowledge about this here. So when you sit and think about what you read on the internet, what you hear from your friends, you kind of put that stuff together and you say, okay, this guy said what this guy said, it must be right, let me try it. So you got to take action to try to make some of these things happen by doing it. The thing about rejection, guys, is temporary. If you allow it to be temporary. Some people sit and say, oh, Joe, it's just not for me, I can't do it. It is challenging to do certain things. And the reason it's challenging is because there's something in your brain back there telling you, you messed up last time, you're going to get hurt again, that's not the smart thing to do. Your brain is protecting you from doing something that it knows you messed up on before, but yet you're looking at the guy next to you and he's doing it. It's kind of like jumping off a high diving board. Your brain is telling you don't do it because it's not you're going to hurt yourself. Your brain's telling you, you damn fool, you don't know how to do it. You better learn how to do it before you jump off there. But you're looking at the other guy and girl going, my God, what guts do they have? They can just jump off of that there. Well, to me, rejection has a little bit to do with fear. Okay? When you're rejected, you get fearful of doing it again. Now, do I have any desire to walk up to a pool and jump off a 30-foot high dive? No, I don't. Okay? Even when I was a kid, I didn't want to do it. 10 foot, yes. 20 foot, I don't know. 30 foot, forget about it. But there's some friends of mine that just did it. And I'm going, man, how do you do that? We're all different. We're all hardwired differently. So just because somebody can do something doesn't mean they're better than you. They may be a little bit different than you in those little small areas. So we've got to find the things that we do better than everybody else. And the only way to do anything better, guys, is that you've got to practice. You got to learn. You got to be rejected. You got to learn by your mistakes. Because when you learn from your mistakes, you're going to always get better. Now, let's kind of wrap it up. Rejection is painful. Rejection does hurt. It's up to you if you're going to make it a temporary or you're going to make it a very long-lasting situation to where it comes with anything. Your personal life, your business life, your social life. Okay? We need to visualize that what we're doing is probably wrong. We need to kind of sit and discuss it with ourselves, and we need to view what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We need to kind of speak with our friends, speak with ourselves, and kind of say, this is what I'm doing. Kind of give me some advice. Kind of help me out. Believe it or not, a lot of your friends want to help you because it's kind of like the old buddy system, the girlfriend system. Everybody wants to help somebody else out because it makes other people feel good when they're helping you, and then it kind of makes you feel good that they're helping you, and then in return, now you can help somebody else out from what you learned. Rejection is the act of being pushed away, be it asking somebody to dance, walking up to a door, doing whatever. It's just feeling that you're not getting your way. So if you take your time, you understand that what we're doing is not easy. Your mindset is saying, I'm going to do it. And the best way to overcome objection is to visualize what you've done wrong. And the better way is to visualize the things that you've done right and you've done correct when it comes to doing what you want to achieve. Because when you think about the positive things you've done, it's going to bring positive endorphins into your body. And when you're speaking with somebody, they're going to feel the scent that you're putting out because of how you handle yourself. Your mannerisms, how you stand, the way you look, your eye contact, the way you make the delivery when you're speaking with somebody. All of these things have a lot to do with everything in your life. So with that said, guys, make it a great weekend. Appreciate your hard work. You got any questions, make sure you call us. Happy Father's Day out to everybody. Be safe, be happy, and have a great day. Bye-bye.